I'm going to be sharing with you the teachings of the TIPI. We're going to start off with number one pole. Teaches us about respect, to respect. And I think respect should come from yourself first before you can talk about respect. Respect should be taught to very young people before they can even talk, to respect themselves, to respect their bodies, to respect the parent that's looking after them. Then the next teaching I'm going to share with you is obedience. Obedience is teaching to obey, and be cautious about how you teach obey. Children should be cautioned about not to obey everybody and everything. They should be taught to watch for themselves, to look after themselves, to make sure they don't obey everything. If they don't feel right where they are, they have a right to leave. And I always say that's the two words that are most important, is respect. Sometimes people tell you, respect me because I'm older than you, and be cautious. To obey is sometimes a risky thing. And then humility. Always think of others equal to you, but don't ever think you're better than anybody. Be humble about your teachings, about other people surrounding you. Be humble with the people you meet, the people you teach, the people you associate yourself with. And those are the three poles I talk about. That's the tripod we talk about in a teepee. When you put up a teepee, we start off with three poles. It's respect, obedience, and humility. Teaches us balance as well, and also teaches us the family. Teaches us the family, how we balance our families. Two parents and a child creates balance. And your tripod comes off balance when one of the parents are not there. So there's a teaching in that. Very strong teaching years ago when I was growing up. I was told that would be the hardest thing I would do in life, was to keep my structure, my teepee, my home balanced. We talk about happiness, to be happy about all things in life, to not dwell on things that are not good, or memories that are not good. Build things that make you happy. Bring up subjects that make you happy. Don't dwell on sadness and people you don't get along with. Think about happiness. We have many things to be happy for. Our families, when our families are together, when our families are healthy, when our families are happy, that's something that the old people talked about. Be happy where you are. Your givings, your blessings, your family, your health, your mobility, and to be with your children, that should be the most happiest time in your life. We talk about love. We talk about love, and love is a sacred word in our language, in the Cree language. Love is sacred because it creates life. Life is not a dirty word. Sometimes people misunderstand what love really means. And when the old people were teaching you, it was something you needed to respect. Love is respectful. Love is not controlling. Love is not, it's a giving. I always say the best love you'll see in your life would be a mother's love towards her child, and that's the best love you will see. We're going to talk about faith. Faith is what we believe in, the higher power that we believe in. I was brought up through the church and also the cultural way. My mother was a very cultural person, so I went to ceremony very young. I was taught how to respect that part of the journey. Faith is something to be honored. no matter what people believe in, what their belief system, as long as it helps them and guides them. We should never judge one another in our belief system, in faith, as long as it helps the families. And I think whatever they decide how to bring their children up. So I made a choice later in life that I would follow my mother's way of believing in faith. So to this day, I follow her way, because she was my teacher. She was why I learned what I learned in my life. Then we talk about kinship. We talk about kinship because that's the most important thing you should share with your child. But from the time they're very young, you teach them to respect that kinship, to honor you as a parent, to call you a mother or a father, not to call you by name. And that's up to parents to do that. That kinship is so important. Today we're losing that part of our teaching, is to teach our children to respect one another, even to honor one another as siblings. We were never told to call one another by name. It was either older brother or older sister or younger sibling. My mother, I could never say her name as a child. I had to address her as my mother. Those are the things we're losing today, that family structure, that unity that we were supposed to teach our children to respect the family and themselves, because we honor our children, and to honor them is to honor them to call them your child, not to just always call them by name. We talk about cleanliness. When the old people talked about cleanliness, they meant spiritual cleanliness, not necessarily hygiene. Though our people were hygienically wise, they were not dirty people. They were clean, but not only hygienically clean, but spiritually clean. They were spiritually clean. They talked about the cleanliness, your powers within you. And that's the cleanliness I remember myself. And to follow that. Then we talk about thankfulness. Thankfulness. Be thankful for all the blessings, all the things, even if it's just health. And I have many things to be thankful for today. I am a grandmother. I'm a great-grandmother. I'm also a mother to my children. And all my grandchildren call me Nochum, because that's how we say grandmother in our language. And you should be addressed as who you are in your family. And I'm thankful for that. That's something I share with my grandchildren. And my great-grandchildren, they call me Tapan, which is short for Ntanskutapan in our language, great-grandparent. And I call them the same, my great-grandchild. I'm going to talk about sharing. Sharing is very special in my world, in our world as Aboriginal people. It's very special. Don't we not share only our teachings, but also material things. I remember the old people love giving, and also they like receiving gifts, but they love giving and sharing their stories. All you needed to do was time. Take your time to sit and listen, and they will share with you to the best of their ability to how they remember things. So we share a lot of things. We share medicines, we share storytelling, we share about how to look after children and how to respect one another. All those things were shared by the old people. When the old people talked about those things, they also talked about the need of strength. The need of strength was you were taught very young how to be self-disciplined. They call it self-discipline. You were taught how to look after yourself and how to protect yourself and how to say no to certain things that you didn't feel were good and were not healthy for you. And that was that strength they built in you, old people, because they tested you too as well. They tested you and see if you had the ability, the strength, not the physical strength, but the spiritual strength, how you could control yourself and how you would look after yourself as a person, whether you were a man or a woman. Good child rearing is one of the TIPI poles. Good child rearing is a huge subject. Through all my years of raising my own children, I had overseers. I call them overseers, was my mother, my aunties, and my kokoms. They were the ones that kind of watched how I raised my children. I'm not a perfect parent, I'm far from it, but I try to listen, I try to use the teachings the old people talked about. I moss bagged my babies because that was a way I could teach them from the time they're very young to be observant and good listeners. And that's what the moss bag teaches a child. When you moss bag your babies, and I'm really adamant about that, moss bagging your babies. And another thing is the old people said, never put your child to bed crying, because they will go to bed sad and wake up angry. So you always find something good to say to your child before they go to bed. I remember as a child myself, when my parents would say something about me good that I did that day, even though there were things I did that were not good, but they always brought up a subject that you did that was good that day. And you felt good going to sleep. You felt good about yourself and about the duties you had to do that day. And another thing the old people taught you was never to hit a child in the upper body. The head is the spiritual part in the body of a child. You hit a child too many times, you dim that light. And when you dim that light, you will create a child that don't care about themselves, let alone be angry. And so those are the child rearing teachings I remember so distinctly, because my mother never hit us. And I can say this because she believed in never hitting a child in the upper body. She believed in making the child work for the mistakes they did, or sitting down or taking them to an elder and making them sit there and listen to a story. Those were the child rearing teachings the old people shared. We'll talk about hope, the pole that talks about hope. There's many things we hope. I hope in my time as I was raising my children, hoping that my children would grow up healthy, and happy about things they did, and to look after themselves in a good way. And another thing I hope is, through the years as I talk to young parents, young students, young people, that they take the things I talk about to heart and use them, because we hope about only the best things for our children, for our little ones that are struggling out there, for the mothers that are struggling parenting their children. My hope is that someday they will hear good stories and they will take them to heart. We talk about protection. One of the big teachings in protection with the TIPI pole is all the teachings that we talk about are protected and bonded together. That rope that goes around is one of the sacred teachings that were shared with us, that for every teaching that you put in that TIPI, that it's bonded. All the teachings are bonded together. We talk about control flaps. The control flaps, the two flaps that's on top of the TIPI that you can control with a TIPI pole, that you can move them. So when you have a fire in the TIPI, you won't get smoked up in the TIPI. Control flaps teaches us balance and how to control our actions and our behaviors. And because we're the teachers for the little children, they watch us, so we need to control even how we speak, because they hear everything. I'm going to talk about 4 directions. The 4 directions are very important in our lives. I talk about the East because that's where most of our ceremonies start, is from the East. That's where the women's strength comes from, is from the East, and that's where the sun rises. And most of our ceremonies, they start from the East. For us women, it gives us power, but good power, you know, spiritual power. We go to the South also. For every direction there is a race that belongs in that direction. The 4 directions we start with, but not all tribes use the colors we do as Cree people. So we talk about the South, that gives us that midday spiritual connection. And that's where our midday starts. And that's where we belong as Aboriginal people, is that the color red. The color red belongs there, and that's our strength. Aboriginal people, we're called the red people. But then we go to the West, and that's where the night finishes. And also there's people that belong in that color, is the black people. And there is emotions that belong to those 4 directions. Then we go to the North, where you look at a life cycle. The child begins, and in the East, the South is where the young people are. The West is where the parenting starts, the parenting. You go to the North, and that's where the old people finish their journey. Those directions, there's many things. That's that personal medicine wheel, I call it, that people should know about. It's that family cycle that we must know about. This is why the 4 directions are so important. I'm hoping these TIPI teachings will help people to learn about balance, how to look after themselves. How to look after themselves in a good way, spiritual way, a healthy way. How to look after their families, their children. How to be thankful for what they have, for their children. I talk about the parents to be healthy, to look after, so they can look after their children. We're the greatest teachers for the young people today. And if we don't balance our lives, we don't look after ourselves, we can only give them what we have. And sometimes, if we're not healthy, we give them that unhealthiness of ourselves. So do your best to give the best you have. You have one chance to raise that child a good way. So my hope, and for all the parents, to listen and to be thankful for them to be blessed with children. Not everybody has children. Be thankful for what you have. Raise those children the best you can with care and love. That's what it takes, care and love, and time. Time. Ego say hi hi.